Without power, over 50 million people. Look at this. Portugal, Spain, Andorra, okay, it's small, and the Basque area of France are without power. People are stuck in elevators, people are stuck in subways, and yeah, it could be a week before everybody gets power back. Now, Spain is saying Spain apparently has power back to about a third, and they're saying the rest 6 to 10 hours, but it's going to be longer than that. And Portugal is saying it could be up to a week. So what's the cause of this? Well, the cause, apparently, some people were theorizing that it was a solar flare or conditions. The electricity company is saying excessive heat caused an overload and took down the grid, but they're not confirming that yet. Even they seem to be theorizing. Cash machines are down, buses are down. I mean, just everything is down. It is chaos. In fact, it's so bad that they're having trouble getting pictures and things out of the affected areas because the internet is down in almost everywhere. Hospitals are on generators, but it's in the next day or so, we're going to get some pretty interesting pictures of just the full chaos. If you search out there now, look at the news articles, there's a few isolated pictures, but almost nothing compared to what we're going to see when it comes out. I think most people are going to be okay. It's not going to be total, end of the world type stuff, but it's going to be a lot of interesting photos.
Here's the water aisle. Bro, it's like a apocalyptic. It's completely empty. All the water is gone. Well, not all. There's still a few there, but almost everything is gone. So, and that's Portugal. No water.
This is Dabu 7. It looks like we have a massive outage. A major U.S. bank now hit by this nationwide outage. Users reporting issues with accessing their savings accounts and other issues here as the bank's website shows an error message. They say that we've encountered an issue and are working to fix that issue. Right now, no other details have been provided. They're telling customers check back on the website, 10 to 15 minutes from the time people are contacting them. It's still not giving any updated information. People are still not able to access their money. They say if you need further assistance, please call customer service at 1-800-950-5114. Down detector. It shows issues hitting around 10 a.m. Eastern with credit cards and mobile banking cited by users as not working. So credit cards, access to savings accounts, regular banking accounts, all that, being able to get money out. They're saying there's a whole list of issues on Down Detector. Maybe you guys are having issues. Let me know in the comments section. Try to keep track of this. Again, this is Citibank, major U.S. bank with 200 million Americans using it, going through a nationwide outage. I've been waiting and watching to see if something like this kicks off, because I feel a series of events like this connected to banks is going to freeze them up. It is going to be a huge event that's going to try to convert everybody over to the wallets that they have sitting there waiting for them. They just need the event. And that event would be holding the dollar hostage in bank accounts, one way or another. Cyber attack, glitches. Just keep that in mind. We've got this massive outage here at Citibank. I'll update on X. Make sure you're following over there. And join me for the live streams as well, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern, right here on Dabu 77.
Jeremiah chapter 30 and verse 5. For thus saith Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushua, we have heard a voice of trembling, of fear, and not of peace. Ask ye now and see whether a man doth travail with child. Wherefore do I see every man with his hands on his loins, as a woman in travail, and all faces are turned into paleness. Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushai, Bahashim, Rachakwadash. Double honors to the elder apostles and the elder bishops of Great Millstone, who rule very well, very beautifully. Double salutations to the Akim I heard pushing his gospel in truth and in sincerity to the best of their ability, given to them by Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushai. Peace, blessings, and salutations be unto the elect scattered abroad. May the election of Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushai, Lord willing, fall upon your houses. This is Brother Quanah Watts from the Arizona Great Millstone Camp. Come back at you, Lord will, with the edifying lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shah, Lord will. It is edifying, Lord will. It is straight to the point. Hey, man, as you've seen in those videos, man, Jacob's trouble, man, is right around the corner, right? We understand that Esau is making his moves, doing his little tests, his experiments. You know what I mean? As, you know, I had said, man, that this was, you know, some kind of, which again, they're not giving full, explanation on, how this blackout happened in, over there in Europe, right? As far as Spain, southern parts of France, Portugal, right? 50 million people, right? For however long, right? Whether it be 8 hours, 1 day, 1 week, right? These people are without power, and again, they were saying that it could be, because of overheating, right? The electrical grid. It could have been some kind of hack. It could have been whatever, man, right? But 2 Corinthians 2:11, right? We're not ignorant of Satan's devices. We're not ignorant of his plots and schemes and whatnot. We understand that this is all part of, what they coined, right? The Great Reset, right? Where Esau Edom basically wants this old system, right? Quote unquote old system, right? Done away with, and he could bring in this new digital age, and we're in the time period where, Esau is going to, basically force the masses, right, into this new digital system, man, and cutting out the lights, right, is a part of that. Because then Esau can come and say, hey, this system's old. The system is, is broken down. It wasn't meant to handle this, that, and the third. And or say, hey, there's some kind of hack and it turned off the system. And the input is some type of, malware or spyware or some shit like that. So now we can't get it open. You know what I mean? We got to go to a new system. Or again, Klaus Schwab, right, the World Economic Forum, right, when he was, again, a part of the World Economic Forum, he made a statement saying that there was going to be, black swan events, that were ultimately going to take place. And these very well could be those events, right, which are going to lead to, the chaos, right? We understand that Esau Edom has a thing, right, in the Latin is order ab chaos, right, order out of chaos. And again, as you've seen, right, you had to see people panicking. People were rushing the stores and buying whatever, just after 8 hours of lights being off. These people were rushing the stores and they took all the water, And again, this is just, a few videos that have come out, man, on this situation, right? We don't necessarily know exactly what's going on over there, and it could be a lot worse, And then there was rumors, right, that blackout, right, that outage was going to come to America, and then here you go, a day or two later, right, a couple days later, now you got the Citibank, right, ultimately going through some type of outage, and telling people that it's gonna, it's gonna come back online, it's gonna, it's gonna, they're gonna help people, 15, 20 minutes waiting, however long waiting, and nothing's happening. These are all part of this, this building, right, to the hour of temptation, Jacob's trouble, man. Because again, when people, and there was a movie, I think it's called American Blackout. The old head, of the Arizona camp, Karatazar was his name, man. He introduced that to the camp. It's called American Blackout, and I think you have to look it up on YouTube or something like that, or maybe on the Google search, and you'll be able to find it. And it's like an 1.5-hour movie, right? And it basically is a movie that was produced to show you that when the power goes out, right, what these people are gonna do, man. These people are gonna wig the fuck out. They're not gonna know what to do. They're gonna bum rush these stores, and it's gonna be all chaos from there, man. Because a lot of these people, man, you can sit here and which is happening right now. You can sit here and take food away from these people. You can make the prices go up. You can do all these different things, but just don't turn off the power. As soon as you turn off the power, that's when these people, you shut off their cell phones, you shut off their iPads and their cars. And it could happen via EMP attack, man. right? A staged EMP attack or a staged flare, right? A solar flare, right? Or a staged hacking or a shutting down of the grid. Again, however it's going to happen, right? We understand that darkness is going to come, right? Especially here in America, as the scriptures say, man. You know, in what is that? 2nd Esdras 15. Let's go. It says right here, 2nd Esdras 15 and verse 11. It says, "But I will bring them with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm, and smite Egypt," right? Which we know the modern day Egypt, as we read in Revelations, right? The 11th chapter, right? It tells you that, you know, America, right? Babylon the Great, right? Is spiritually called Sodom and Egypt, right? So let's talk about America, right? Which you can look it up, who is the virgin daughter of Babylon, and it will pull up America, right? Even these Christian, you know, so-called Christian scholars, they know that the Babylon the Great, the virgin daughter of Babylon, is America today, you know? So it goes right here. It says, but I will bring them with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm, and smite Egypt with plagues as before, and will destroy all the land thereof. So one of those plagues, right, is that darkness, man. Right? With the last plague is when Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai ultimately put darkness over the land, right, of Egypt, you know, and there was mass death, right, that went out. And see, this is exactly what's going to play out in this time, right? Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai is going to make it to where the lights go out, man. Darkness is going to cover the earth, you know, especially here in America, man, right? The epicenter of wickedness and evil in the earth. The Lord is finna shut out all the lights, man. You know, and this very well could be, you know, a trial run, right? To see how the people are going to react. Is this how the elites want it to go, right? Or the elites say, hey, you know, we'll shut out the lights and we'll just monitor these people and see, right, how they react. You know, and then we'll do a little smaller test run over in America. And again, this is how these damn devils think, man. This is why they have all these G summits and meetings and whatnot, right? Davos meetings and so on and so forth, right? Throughout the year. And they've been having them a hell of a lot more the last like 5 to 7 years. You know? Why? Because of Revelations 12 and 12, right? You know what, that he hath but a short time, right? The prophets are out here. Esau sees the prophets, and he sees that what the prophets are saying is starting to come to pass. So again, he's having more and more meetings and saying, hey, we got to speed this up. Hey, we got to, start making more and more steps, you know? And this is why, again, you see these outages happening, you know? Because that's what's prophesied to take place, that there's going to be darkness in the land. Right? Esau is going to stage some type of black swan event, and there's going to be darkness upon the land. Whether it be an EMP strike, a solar flare, a hacking, you know, or the grid, right, breaking under pressure, or the heat, or whatever it may be, man. Right? We understand that this is what's going to happen, man. And again, we're seeing it. Right? What's going to take place when the lights go out, right? For however long they go out, especially here in America, these people are going to fucking wig the hell out, man. You know, and that's going to be what? 2nd Esdras, the 15th chapter. Let's go ahead and go to it, right? In verse 15, it says, for the sword, suck it. I mean, this is a good point too, man. It says, for the sword and their destruction. No, matter of fact, we'll start at verse 14. It says, woe to the world and them that dwell therein. For the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. And see, we're seeing, you know, these, you know, that civil war, right, ultimately brewing, because that's going to be a part of it as well, right? You're going to have people standing in the streets, right, firing, you know, shots at each other, right, over disputes, man. You know, what that dispute is, right, it's to be determined, but nonetheless, we're seeing that dispute, right, ultimately arise, right? You got a lot of this, you know, Trump administration, right? Even those that voted for Trump are going against Trump and his administration. And then you got the Democrats going against the Trump administration, you know what I mean? And so on and so forth. So we're already starting to see that this infighting within America, man. You know, and that's going to boil over as well, right? But it don't just stop there, right? It says, verse 16 says, for there shall be sedition among men and invading one another. Why? Because, again, as when the power goes out and people, wig out. Again, they're gonna run to these stores, and just have we seen, right, going back to the whole toilet paper and the gas shortage and whatnot. Hey, people were fucking fighting, man. People were in lines for hours, long ass lines for hours, waiting to get their toilet paper or waiting to get their gas, right? And then you would have people that were getting more than they were allowed to get, and people were fucking fighting, man. People were getting stabbed, right? There was a dude who got too much gas, his car fucking blew up, lit on fire and blew up. Like, you got a whole bunch of shit that's going to, that's about to hit the fan, man. These people are going to wig the hell out, and they're going to be invading these stores, right? Just as we seen in that video, they're going to be invading people's homes. Shit about to hit the fan. It says, they shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. So they're going to say, fuck it, man. We don't care. And that was, ultimately, what you had seen in that movie, World War Z. When he went in that store, man, he had the gun in his hand. He put his hands up. You know what I mean? Like he was going to get arrested. But shit, the cop fucking walked right by him and stole some shit. Because it's going to be every man for themselves at that point, man. Right? When all hell breaks loose. When the lights go out, that's it. That's it, man. Though nobody's going to give a fuck about nothing. It says a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able because of all the chaos that's going to happen, man. You're not going to want to be in the city. You're not going to want to be, anywhere near these major, towns, cities, You ain't going to want to be near that. And on top of that, you're going to have Esau, right, coming in with this, his, whether it be what is that? Their military, right? You got the National Guard, Army, so on and so forth, all that, right? And or a foreign military is going to come in here, man. Right? However it may be. Again, scriptures say we know in part, we prophesy in part. We understand that these things are going to take place. We just don't know exactly, right, how they're going to look. It says, for because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. Again, Jacob's trouble, right? We just read in Jeremiah the 30th chapter, verse 5, all the way to 7, right? That it's going to be a time of fear, right? And not a time of mirth, not a time of rejoicing, a time of fear, right? All faces are going to turn into paleness. These people are going to be fucking scared, man. They're not going to know what to do. It's going to be all hell breaking loose, man. And this is what Esau wants, right? That order ad chaos, because again, which is all part of this great reset that Esau got. And matter of fact, it's beautiful too, man. Because when you look it up, right, it says the Great Reset, right? It tells you, the Great Reset Initiative is an economic recovery plan drawn up by the WEF in response to the Crown Vic Royale scamdemic. The project was launched in 2020, and so on and so forth. But see, when you go to the World Economic Forum, right, the one, and before, I want to say maybe a few months back, you were able to go and look at the Great Reset and how it detailed the plans of, how they wanted to roll it out. But when you click on it, boom, content unavailable. They took it down because their agenda was being revealed, right? Their plans are being revealed. And this is why they went and took down the Georgia Guidestones, man. For those that don't know, you can look up the Georgia Guidestones. Shit, they might even taken that down. It was a set of pillars, right, that had commandments on it, right, which are Esau's commandments, right, in a sense, man. It's Esau's, 10 commandments, right, because we understand in 2 Thessalonians 2 and 4, he has that God complex, right. He wants to be the Most High. He wants to set himself up as the Most High. So as the Most High has laws and commandments, right, Esau had set himself up laws and commandments, which again go back to the Georgia Guidestones, which one of the commandments, in a sense, if you will, right, is to have the world population at 500 million or less, which means that's roughly 7.5 billion people that he has to, get rid of. And see, Esau, the way he works is he would rather you do that to yourself, man. Right? So he's going to create the chaos. There's going to be people going into people's homes, breaking into people and killing people, right? That little purge, because you had that, I can't remember what mayor it was. Bros put it in the chat, and Lord will, I can repost it. But there was a mayor that just came out and was asking for, Lancaster, California. The mayor of Lancaster, California was talking about, which I can't remember the dude's name, but you can look it up, right? The mayor of Lancaster, California, wanting a purge. And he sat there and said that the president should give us a purge, right? To purge the people of, purge the homeless and the criminals, and he was talking about, criminals that are, coming out of prison and selling, fentanyl and so on and so forth, which a majority of the prisoners that are out there in California are the so-called blacks and Hispanics, man. The Israelites. So of course, right, that's that mindset, right? Esau's coming out telling you, hey, we got to get rid of these people. Which again, who is he focusing on? The Israelites. The so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, man. That's Esau's whole MO, is to get rid of us. Right? We are the chosen nation of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. He's not. He sold his birthright. Right? And since him selling that birthright, going back to Genesis 27 chapter, he said what? He said, then will I slay my brother Jacob, man. Since the beginning, there has been a hatred and a perpetual hatred, for the Israelites, right, from Esau Edom, man. And now we're starting to see that more and more. Now he's really coming out more and more telling you, hey, these people are a problem. He's calling us the problem when he's the problem, right? Scriptures call him the curse of the earth, man. But here you go. Here we go, right? We understand the Lord set this man up, right, just to bring him down. And see, right now we're in the part where Esau's pride is at such a high level, right, that he believes that he's going to be able to establish his NWO, right? He's going to be able to, do this great reset, right? To a certain degree, right? He's already, starting it, right? You already got the MOTB infrastructure up, right? You already got them pushing hard, the micro C-hip, right? Which is the MOTB, right? The mark of the beast is the RFID micro C-hip and the different forms that it comes in. As far as the hand, the grain of rice and the brain disc that goes in your, obviously in your head, that's all part of that. And see, if it was still up, the Great Reset would literally talk about that, the fourth industrial revolution and so on and so forth, right? It would go into all of that. But see, again, they took it down. Why? Because they understand that their agenda is being revealed. Jeremiah 49:10, right? We know what's coming and we know what's going to happen, right? And this is why he's coming so hard, trying to stop, the men of the Lord, right, from putting out this information, right? He's taking down videos, copywriting videos, and so on and so forth, man. But see, again, hey, man, you can do nothing against the truth before the truth, man. As he continues to take down the videos, as he continues to attack the truth, right, that's only going to lead to what, right? Prophecy, right? Amos 8:11, the famine of the word, These are the times that we're coming into, man. Shit about to hit the fan for real. Let's go back to this, right? 2nd Esdras 15 and verse 18. It says, for because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. And man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. These are the times that we're coming into, man. Right? These different power outages, that are taking place, again, across seas and even here in America, right? These are all basically a foreshadow of what's going to encompass the whole world, right? That darkness, right? Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai is going to bring that darkness, and he's going to use Esau to do it, right? Via, a black swan event, man, right? We believe that through the, through the spirit, man, through faith, right? We believe that that's how it's going to happen. Again, how, right? What kind is black? It could be an EMP strike, could be a solar flare, it could be a hacking, it could be a lot of things, man. Right? But we understand that darkness is coming nonetheless. We're at the end of Esau Edom's society, man. Everything that you see here and how these people are moving about in the world, that shit's finna come to a screeching halt, man. Again, go and check out that movie, American Blackout. American Blackout. If you have not seen it yet, go and look it up on YouTube or on Google or YouTube, right? And Lord will, you'll be able to see it, man. because that'll give you a good depiction of what's about to hit. You know, again, we're gonna wait for more and see if we can find more videos and pictures and whatnot of, you know, what's going on, what's truly going on over there, you know, in Spain and Portugal and the southern parts of France, and see how that's happening, you know, and see how it, you know, what's really going on over there. But hey, yeah, we believe that shit's already, you know, hitting the fan over there, man. To 8-10 hours a day without power, these people are gonna trip, man. You know, these people are gonna fucking trip. That means the whole economy is down, man. The whole economy is down. People can't buy shit. People can't sell anything. Right? They can't, you know, get on social media, talk to loved ones. Their cell phones are down. They can't call loved ones. You know? And you best believe these people are tripping over there, man. You know, and who knows, right? Esau could be, you know, again, there's no cell phones or videos that's coming out, but who knows? Esau could be like, hey, you want to be able to participate? You want to be able to run this? We got this right here, right? Again, he's coming up with a solution, man. Oh, we got the RFID micro C-HIP. That hasn't been down, right? That didn't get hacked. You know? That's how Esau moves, man. He creates the problem, or he creates a solution, right? And then turns around and creates the problem and then offers you a solution, man. And that's the only solution to the problem. But see, he made it that way, man. These damn devils are fucking crafty as hell. You know? Again, we don't know necessarily fully, you know, what's going on over there, man. But we can, you know, kind of just, you know, peep it through the spirit, right? What's going on? You know, and what's about to take place. But yeah, man, shit's about to hit the fan, man. And I don't want to speak on this too much. You know, I just want to grab a few precepts, ultimately, you know, bring it out, man. Right? What's going on and what's, you know, through the spirit, right? According to the scriptures, what's coming, right? That darkness is not just gonna hit random spots, man. It's gonna hit the whole world at one point, man. You know, because again, he has to, you know, enact that great reset. You know, we know that hey, that darkness is coming to America quick. Right? And it might happen in stages. Although we're going to shut down Spain, you know, and then next it's going to be, you know, Germany, you know. It could happen in you know, by the country or by, you know, regional areas or however it may be, man. But nonetheless, we understand that America is going to be in that darkness. We just read it in 2 Corinthians 15, right? He gonna smite Egypt with plagues as before, man. You know. But let me grab this, man, and we'll close out, man. This is, what is that? 1 Peter 4 and verse 7, just hitting the point. It says, but the end of all things is at hand. Be ye therefore sober and watch under prayer, man. Constantly be praying, man. You know? Constantly be praying, man. That's a direct line of communication with the Heavenly Father through his only beloved begotten Son, is our prayers, man. You know? And stay watching, man. Stay watching. Stay, you know. And there's so much going on. We can't necessarily keep up with everything. But nonetheless, try your best, man. You know? Try your best to watch as much as you can. And see what's going on, man. Take heed to the prophets. You know? Well, that's all I got, man. Lord wills that I find. Lord will straight to the point. I'm going to give all praise, honor, glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rachak, Wadash, the Lord, to the elder apostles, at the bishops, great millstone. Till next time, I say shalom.